challenging you. Hello, this is Mr. Chabry, and I've got a question for you. Have you noticed a certain type of ad for mobile games that's been popping up everywhere? Facebook, Twitter, even on YouTube. I'm talking about the pull the pin ads. Basically, it looks like some sort of puzzle game where you pull the pins in the correct order to unlock something. However, I have a feeling that most of these games that we see using this ad trope is not the game that we're looking at. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to do some investigating. Now, I don't have a detective hat, but I'm sure this will do just fine. So what we're going to do is look at these 8 games that use this trope. We're going to be looking at Gardenscapes, Homescapes, Fishdom, Hero Wars, Evony, King's Return, Hustle Castle, Love Pins, and Pull the Pin. So which of these games are actually what they advertise? Let's find out. Starting up Gardenscape, we're given a cutscene that shows that our great uncle has passed away, and in his will, he has given us his mansion. We're then stopped by our great uncle's butler, who asks us our name. Now, how close were we to our great uncle where he left us in his will, but didn't even bother to tell his butler our name? I tell him my name is Pinman, because I'm expecting to pull some pins in this game. Also, if you're wondering what Pinman looks like, he's this dude here with the duck. He then remarks on how in disrepair the mansion is, and it's then when we see the actual gameplay. This isn't pull the pin. And look at how the butler just winks at you. He knows that he's been lying this whole time about what kind of game you will be playing. And that's it. That's the game. It's Candy Crush. You use these little puzzles so you can get stars to make improvements to your mansion. You also get gold so you can customize it, I guess? I'm not totally sure. I didn't play it enough to know. If you happen to beat the level with some more moves left, you're going to see a big range of explosives happening all over the board. I think this is actually meant to give people a dopamine high, but it's not working for me because I don't like mobile games. So I'm ready to write this game off as a faucet. Wait a second. A different type of gameplay? Well, it's not pull the pin. It's actually pretty close to the idea. You pick certain items and see if you pick the right thing. And once you complete it, you're given a well done. So basically, the elements that you're seeing in the ads are actually presented as the butler's dreams. And while there's a chance that there might actually be pull the pin puzzles in the dream sequences, I looked around at how much improvement to the mansion you have to do, and I'm not playing this game. It is way too long. So for this first game, it has some elements of the pull the pin puzzle, as it showed in the ad, but the actual gameplay is Candy Crush. So with that, I'm going to actually give it an X. It has elements from the ad, but that's not the main gameplay. And with the game ad, you want to put the actual gameplay. I'm pretty sure they did it because no one cares about Candy Crush anymore. Now on to Homescapes. We start off with a cutscene showing the actual butler from Gardenscapes. Yeah, he's in this game too. And he's basically reminiscing about his childhood home. Once he gets to his old home, he sees that it's actually dilapidated and falling apart. And it's here where we get into the actual gameplay. It's another Candy Crush clone. In fact, it's the exact same game as Gardenscape, only instead of working on your mansion, you're working on your butler's childhood home. That's the only difference. I then introduce myself to the butler's parents. My name is Pinman again, because I'm still expecting some pull the pin gameplay. After playing for a little bit, we are giving an Austin's Bad Dream prompt. So basically, the puzzle elements for this game is exactly like Gardenscape. It is just in his dream. However, for this one, it is actually pull the pins. You have to unite the butler with this young woman here. While in between them, this older lady walks around with a rolling pin. I found myself wondering, who is this old lady? We know it's not the butler's mother because we just saw her a moment ago. Could she be the mother of the young lady who doesn't want her daughter dating a butler? Or... oh. The old woman is the butler's wife. You are literally helping him have an affair. Now it makes sense why the butler gives you this look after you accomplish the puzzle. So for Homescape, it's exactly the same as Gardenscape. Now on to Fishdom. Right away we're introduced to the sea turtle who asks us our name. Hello little sea turtle, my name is Pinman Fish. You might have heard of me. I'm the ginger with the duck. We're then given coins to buy a clownfish. So it seems like this game's actually an aquarium simulator, maybe? That is until the sea turtle tells us that we need to make some more coins. It's then when we see the actual gameplay. This is seriously the third Candy Crush clone that we have just came across. After handling the Candy Crush portion, you're given a minigame where you have to help the clownfish get through the pipes. There's multiple obstacles and you're given different items to get through there. However, I have to say it's very easy. And a question that I have here is, how does this stick of dynamite not blow up the entire pipes? While looking at the available fish, I noticed that this game has a huge inspiration from Finding Nemo. In fact, it looks totally like Finding Nemo. Also, to acquire all the fish, you have to be at an insane level. Like, do they think that this gameplay is so enticing that they're going to have people play until they're like over level 3000? I'm noping out of this game. Another thing I noticed about these 3 games that we played just now is it's actually made by the same company, Playrix. So it seems like Playrix has a thing where they keep making Candy Crush clones, but they're trying to sell it to you as a pull-the-pin puzzle game. On to Hero Wars. Upon starting up the game, we are greeted with an actual pull-the-pin style game. This actually blows my mind. After playing the other games, finding a game that starts off right with the pull-the-pin puzzle, I honestly didn't even expect it. It's then when we're taken to a different style of gameplay. Honestly don't know what you call this. I think this might be considered an AFK fighter, but I'm not totally sure because I've never really messed around with that many mobile games. After playing the game a little bit longer, it seems like most of this game is actually the AFK fighter style, but every once in a while you'll come across a pull-the-pin puzzle. It seems to me that this is actually just a bonus round, and that most of the game is actually just the AFK fighter. So for Hero Wars, of course, it's not totally pull-the-pin puzzles, but it's better integrated than the first 3. So I'm actually going to give it a check and a half. So we're gonna do this little number here. Silly Mr. Chabry, what you meant to say was half a check mark, not a check and a half. So that way we know it's not the actual game, but it's better integrated than these 3. It seems to me that when they made Hero Wars, they actually had the puzzle elements in mind to go with the AFK style fighting game, whereas these 3 just shoved it in there because they thought it would make it a more popular game. Next up is Evony, the King's Return. First thing, you need to pick your civilization. You have the choice of Europe, China, Japan, Korea, Russia, Arabia, or America. Welcome to the White House, President Pinman. The first thing we're greeted with is a cowgirl telling us we need more resources. Where do we get resources? Why, from the pull-the-pin puzzles, of course. To be honest, from the presentation, I thought for sure that this would not be a pull-the-pin puzzle style game. I was for sure this would be a civilization management game. And it actually is kind of both. You solve the pull-the-pin puzzles to get resources. You use those resources to build up your civilization. You have an entire map of dungeons to get gold from. So that's basically the game. Get gold from a dungeon, upgrade something on your civilization, rinse and repeat. Not only do you have to pull the pins in the correct order, but you also have to make sure the timing of when you pull them are correct. Take this level for example. You have to push the pillar in order to keep the platforms from falling underneath your character and your character falling into the spikes. But you also have to make sure you time it right, because if you don't, your character will fall into the fire and die. So it's not simply just pull the pins in the right order. You have to make sure the timing is correct. It also seems like there's a multiplayer element to this game. Here we can see other players' castles. And you know, thinking about that, it is an odd combination. Here in this game, we've got cowboys and cowgirls plus castles. That might be because America is such a new country compared to all these other civilizations that you could pick from. And honestly, out of all the games that I've played so far, this one actually seems to be the most bearable. I wasn't frustrated at the end of this game like I was the others. But maybe that's because I didn't play it long enough to get frustrated. So for Evony Return of the King, we're going to go ahead and give it a green check mark. The puzzle style element is integrated way better into that one than the other games. Of course, when you see those ads, you're not getting a puzzle game per se. You've got these little side missions where you do puzzle stuff to get gold for the actual Civilization Manager game that you are playing. But I still think it should get a green check mark because it's actually a pretty important part of the game. Now on to Hustle Castle, and out of all the games, I thought this seemed pretty interesting because of the art style. The art style is very reminiscent of the Disenchantment Netflix show. So right away we are thrown into an AFK style fighter, and then after that, we wait for a loading screen. Get used to these loading screens because this game has tons of them. We then have some dialogue between the different characters, the Abyss Lord, the Sage, Princess Olivia, and Donald the Glorious. And honestly, all of these characters would probably fit in very well in the Disenchantment world. We then learn that the Abyss Lord has taken some villagers hostage. But don't worry, King Pinman is on the way. And then it's back to the castle, where we can expand some rooms, add some more stuff, train troops, and stuff like that. And you know what? That's the game. I played this for a little bit. I did not see any pull the pin puzzles. Now for Hustle Castle, that game is nothing like what the ads show. I played that for a little bit, and there's no pull the pin. So it's even worse than all of these on here. So we're going to give it a big X. Let's go ahead and... yeah. The big X. Because it's nothing the ads show. And now we look at love pins, and this game is exactly what the ads show. You pull the pins to unite these two stick figures, and once they come together, they start a goofy little dance. After playing for a little bit, it does that annoying thing that mobile apps do. It asks you to go onto the Play Store and give it a rating. It also gives me an option to get more coins by watching an ad. I click no thanks and... wait a second. I click no thanks. It's showing me the ad anyway. So basically, the two options are you watch an ad to get coins, or you watch the ad and don't get coins. Either way, you're interrupting the gameplay. That's very annoying. So as you continue playing, you're introduced to more hazards. You have cannons, spiders, tigers, and even bears. And now it's asking us to watch an ad again. I click no thanks. It takes us to the ad anyway. Sometimes you'll come across a chest that gives you an upgrade, but you actually have to watch an ad to receive it. Think about that. If in The Legend of Zelda, when you go to get the hook shot, you have to watch an ad before you can even put it in your inventory. Oh yeah, and the gift gauge also requires you to watch an ad. Great. You know what? I can't continue this game. The ads on these games are just so terrible, and it just keeps interrupting the gameplay. So Love Pins is a game that is exactly what you're seeing in the ads. So we'll go ahead and give it a green check mark. The last game, finally. The actual game is called Pull the Pin, and it actually is a pull the pin puzzle game. And honestly, that's not too surprising since the ads say that this is the actual pull the pin puzzle that all the other game ads keep showing you. After each puzzle, you fill up your fabulous meter, and then... it's another ad. This ad goes on forever. It's literally 30 minutes of watching someone fail a mobile game. And then after that, it insists you play this game. No thank you. I am Pinman. I'm going back to the pull the pin game. You know, I'm actually curious on what happens when this fabulous meter fills all the way up. I wonder It's another ad. Seriously, this is just like Love Pins. These two games are just adware with the coat of pull the pin puzzle game. Of course, as the game continues, it gets a little bit more difficult. You have bombs that will blow up your balls. You also have gray balls that need to touch the color balls before they can fall into the container. After that, we finally max out our marvelous meter. Let's see what happens. So it wants us to watch an ad to get the perk. No thank you, let's lose the perk. Alright, we've lost it. Let's continue now. What? What was the point of that? Seriously, we couldn't even skip the ad. What's the point of taking the perk away? If we click on no, I would not like to watch the ad, but we have to watch the ad anyway. It makes no sense! Pull the pin is exactly what it says. The actual game from those ads. We'll give it a green check mark. However, is that a win for it? Because the ads are so terrible that it makes you just not want to play it at all. So as we see here, most of the games that use this trope are not forthcoming. We've only got 2 of them that are completely what they show in the ad. These 2 right here, however, they do have puzzle elements, but the big thing is they are not puzzle games. One's an AFK fighter, and the other one is a civilization management game. These 4 here are totally not puzzle games. These 3 up here have a little bit that you see here and there, but Hustle Castle, there's nothing. So with that, my detective work is done.